You know, it's about time I did a Jax Blade reaction. No powers, just hands. So this is referring to that argument. And you get all the best anime fighters and you get rid of their powers, who will win in a fight? And then it turns to like who's the best martial artist. But then it also you gotta think about now we gotta think just physique, right? They're all just human. We're taking all the way this the Super Saiyan. We're getting rid of the chakra. They're just hands, right? So let's hear this conversation fully from Jack's point of view.
I love anime, I
I
love
do
MMA,
too.
and I love
I do
Fitness
too.
A. But if
I
you've been
do too.
online long enough, you've probably seen this anime UFC roster drawn by Jehuda Ivan on Instagram. Awesome dude, give him a follow. But on various posts, you'll see the quote, "Who wins? No powers, straight hands." And
In this fight, just hands. Shit. I don't know. Yusuke Urameshi, he pretty hard. I don't know. I don't know. Just no powers, bro. Hmm.
then
Hmm.
people have their typical back and forth of who they think would win this hypothetical fight. You know, typical internet stuff. However,
If it's this one, Batman. Yeah, they both don't got powers. Batman win.
have their typical
For
back and
real.
forth of who they think would win this hypothetical fight. You know, typical internet stuff. However, something that has become so very glaring to me that not a lot of people have been talking about, the term no powers probably doesn't mean what you think it means, because so many different people have different interpretations of what no powers actually stands for.
Mine is whatever boosts you to superhuman levels. So Sasuke and Naruto, if they did not have their chakra powers and they just fought, how would that really work? Because chakra is something that's throughout the entire body. Same with ki, right? So it's just their energy levels, but how can you really match it? This is why I don't really get too deep into the conversation because you got so many different technicalities. And even though I'm just like, Yusuke will beat their ass, realistically, I really don't know.
So, for example, no powers, but the character still gets to keep their super strength, super speed, super reflexes, super conditioning, super durability, etc. This could be understood
That's
if
a
a person
power.
said equal stats, as in Goku nerfed to fight comparable to Naruto, so it's not like an episode of One Punch Man, but more often than not, people forget that or straight up ignore that, and it makes this battle incredibly different. Another way people look at it is no powers, but we make it like a real-life MMA fight. We're comparing their martial arts skill set, their height, their weight, and we're using real world physics like their brain is in a real world human version of their body with that skill set and comparing them. As a fitness junkie and MMA hobbyist, I find that is my personal favorite way to talk about it. And hell, me and the anime trainer spent an hour going in depth on different anime characters and breaking down what their real world fighting skills and abilities would actually be like
That's super nerdy. I might just check it out.
in this video here if anyone is interested. But I actually want to go further in depth on something else related. So let's actually break this down in a few categories. 1. What is a power? 2. What certain martial arts techniques would transfer? And 3. Natural genes versus training versus enhancements. I won't break down height, weight,
It's
and
so
skill because
hard,
we
bro.
already did that in depth in this video. The thing about anime is no powers has vastly different implications depending on what series you're
Depending
talking
on the
about.
anime,
For
bro.
example, in Dragon Ball, Krillin after training with Roshi technically had no powers and just trained to be able to move giant boulders, move so fast he can do complicated moves in the blink of an eye, and punch people through various buildings. Luffy had his powers shut off in Wano, but was still
And he was
able
still
to
doing
lift giant stone
superhuman
slabs
things.
with his regular strength. Yuji had insane physical attributes before eating Sukuna's finger, which if you read the manga, you know a certain character
Damn.
pulled a Rachel Starr and helped with that. And
Ooh.
Azumi from Full Metal Alchemist casually carries bears, and those things can weigh up to 1,200 pounds. Also, Rock Lee carries around.
Yeah.
If you saw anyone do any of that in our real life world, you would most definitely consider that
They're already
a power.
superhuman.
If you saw someone lifting a car like this, you'd be like, oh, they
Damn.
got super strength. That's a power.
Facts.
If you saw someone dodge lasers and bullets like this, you'd be like, oh,
Damn,
that's a
that's
power.
crazy.
If you saw
Facts.
someone as fast as this, you'd be like, oh,
Damn, that's
a
crazy.
power. If you
Facts.
saw someone get hit on the racetrack by a speeding car and instead of exploding, they just tanked it and walked away like nothing happened, you'd be like, oh, that's a power. If you saw
No, I
people
wouldn't.
fight
I'd be like that.
for 5 days straight and they didn't stop, that is a power.
Bro,
like
you need
imagine if
help.
someone tried to say, oh, Saitama technically doesn't have powers, he's just strong and
Bullshit.
fast.
Bullshit.
But the same also goes for
Bullshit.
Baki characters. When you have
Oh
people
yeah.
tanking shotguns and
Yeah.
feeling like lizards from eating enough steak,
Yeah.
punching earthquakes and taking down
Yeah.
giant animals and fighting entire militaries,
Yeah.
Baki is literally designed to be a power fantasy. Yes,
Facts.
they are not shooting energy beams or flying, and their techniques are purely physical. However, if you saw a person do what any of these characters
Yujiro
are
is-
doing IRL,
he's
you
not
would
human.
definitely be thinking, so
Jack's
superpowers
not
are
human.
real. Because there is a difference between
Baki's not
being
human.
insanely athletic and superhero shit. Real quick, are you trying to get in shape
Yes.
for the summertime and drop weight fast? My
Not
Rip
really.
Master program can do just that. It's helped hundreds of people so
No.
far. Zero equipment needed. All you need is your body weight, pure calisthenics, and a
Yep.
bedroom, and you can do this program. It has helped
Facts.
so many people so far.
Look, I never even used it, but I believe it, bro. That's Jax.
It'll build muscle, burn fat, and
That's
do all
Jax,
that
bro.
within
I believe
60
it.
days. All you need is your body
60
weight. And we're
days.
having a little special right now
Ooh.
because summer is upcoming.
That's
so
really good.
check it out right now.
That's an
and
intense
now,
program.
back to the video. Brian Shaw lifting insane
Yeah,
heavy weight
that's
is an incredible
he's superhuman, bro.
feat. But if you saw
What?
someone lift that same weight casually with minimal
Nah.
effort, you'd be like,
Nah.
what?
Nah.
Usain Bolt is the fastest man on the planet.
Superhuman.
But if you saw someone run as fast as this chili dog enthusiast, Mike Tyson is an extremely fast and powerful puncher,
Superhuman.
but if you
Can't convince
saw
me he's
someone
not.
deck them and send them flying like this, you'd be like, a power is anything that would be beyond normal human capabilities or unbelievable in our world. Otherwise, these two characters would just be considered mega hyper athletic people. Shame on us for thinking they're supers. Now, yes, if we
Bro.
could go back and
Maybe if what's the name? Jax? Isn't that the super kid's name? If Jax was more of an adult and he was more ripped and he was running a fast speed, but not his speed, you can consider him superhuman as well.
in time, we probably
Mr.
would
Incredible,
look
that's insane
superhuman
what he
to
does.
those athletes of the past because our athletes have made such large bounds in physical
Facts.
improvement. However,
Facts.
I still think there is a big difference between,
There's
shaving
another
a
level,
minute
bro.
off your running time
There's
versus
another level.
going hypersonically fast. But let's talk techniques. I did a video talking about Ultra Instinct and its real life equivalent years ago, and while there's some merit in being able to utilize some of what I talked about in that video in real life, sort of like how Roshi used it when fighting Jiren in the manga, if you saw someone's eyes change color and then their hair changes and then they just start dodging automatically
That's superhuman.
while this
Now you can't
badass
convince
music
me.
starts
That's a
playing
mutant.
and they're like moving at super speed and all this crazy stuff, all right, you'd be like, holy shit, Danny Phantom? And you'd be like, yeah, that's a power.
I'm dead.
Many key techniques would be considered powers. Ki blast, flight, kaioken, kamehameha, solar flare, etc. But then there are certain fictional martial arts that if you saw someone do them during UFC 9001, you know damn well that'd be a power. Like Kenshiro doing his technique of making you explode, he'd be getting disqualified, arrested, and it's a power. Oma using his advanced and Ryan
Who is gonna arrest him?
unleashing his Kure blood, power. Like if you want to compare their skill
And you know what's crazy with the Kure blood? That's a genetic trait that's passed down, right? So at that point, is it a power or is it a genetic buff? And are we going to just call genetic buffs powers? Because, I mean, technically, there's a lot of people on Earth that have powers, like the most flexible human beings in the world. Even though a lot of that is training, and I'm pretty sure some of that is genetic. If the average person can't do it, doesn't make it a power. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
skills unpowered, you have to see what type of strikes and martial arts skills
Oh,
they are
oh, oh.
utilizing in their choreography during their fights without all that extra stuff. Kengan Ashura, even with fictional martial arts, is great at that and then adds on the superpowers to enhance the viewing pleasure.
makes
Some
it better.
characters are aliens, gods, demons, superheroes, etc. And people say natural physical powers. But it's like I talked about in depth in this video. If you got Saiyan, Kryptonian, or Viltrumite genetics, what you can do naturally counts as a power. Hell, let's compare 3 human characters. Dash Par, born with super speed. Krillin, trained for super
Dash,
speed.
that's his
The
name.
Flash, gifted
Dash.
super speed.
I forgot.
All these characters are insanely fast, and if you didn't know which one's powers were innate, gifted, or trained, and you saw them just running around in real life, you'd say, oh damn, they got super speed, which indicates power. Which kind of doesn't make sense why this inhibitor collar works on Martians if it's their natural ability, but I digress. In my honest opinion, this is why I vastly prefer looking at it from like a human level perspective, from like the realistic, where we like look at their, actual martial arts skills. We look at their height and weight, and then we compare it like realistically from all the skills they've shown and stuff like that over the years, not including their powers. I just find that just so much more vastly interesting and engaging. Take their brains and put them in like MMA conditioned bodies and then see how they perform against each other. And yeah, I wouldn't count Goku or Vegeta as being that light. I'd say they are more along the lines of the 180s to maybe 190s for their height and frames. And yes, some of these characters could potentially punch above their weight class, but there's still stuff where if they truly have no powers, then their anime BS booster wouldn't help them. Again, this video if you want to learn more about that. I just find that more engaging than, oh, no powers, but I can still punch through the moon. If you made it this far in the video, type Powerline in the comments down below, and then tell me, which version of this do you prefer? Like, which way do you like to analyze, like, your interpretation of these sort of, like, battles and stuff like that? Because, again, I love MMA, I love anime.
You know, I always enjoy talking about the battles, but to a certain extent, you do run into a wall with a couple of them because you start talking about like their genes, and it's like what part of their genes is their power, and what part of it is just you know, extra. You feel me? So, it's kind of hard to explain it as well. So, like, if we use an example like Goku, right? Because we used Goku earlier, right? He's a Saiyan. So, are we gonna nerf Zenkais? Because that's not a power. That's his genetic trait. Unless you're saying, genetic traits can also be powers. Well, then, if genetic traits can also be powers, how the French toast are we gonna take people that are crazy superhuman, like Superman? Like you legitimately gotta just nerf him, like legitimately, like nerf the hell out of him to be a human. And if that's the case, Superman probably is not gonna win a fight against Goku because Super at least let me know if Superman got martial arts power or martial arts knowledge, or if he uses them in fights. All I see him is like just beating the hell out of people and like flying into them and like punching the hell out of them, right? So all you got is punches in your repertoire versus someone with martial arts. I mean, good luck, Chuck, right? It's not a street fight. It's a UFC fight. At least, you got the cage and the gloves and shit. So there's rules to it. So I don't know. It's always interesting, but at some point, it's just like, eh.
And I love just fitness stuff in general, so I love having these sort of discussions. But again,
Mm.
it's nothing that serious, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah, I
there's
feel you, bro.
sometimes like the way I look at it is back when I was in like elementary school or on the playground, like talking with my boys about like this. It was just like a casual thing, and then we go to class and everything be chill afterwards. Not the online way of like,
if you don't agree with me, then I will send you a death threat. I will cyberbully you, and I will dox you. And it's
And it's like, bro, if you're doing all that, you need some pussy.
it is not that
Because,
serious. There are
dog,
lines on paper,
there's
bro. And
no
check out my
way.
fitness programs. I'm having a massive
There's
discount
no
because
way.
summer's coming up and I want y'all to get sexy lean like that. It comes with diet help and all that jazz.
That's dope.
But remember,
Definitely check that out if y'all want to get fit like Jax. All right, that was a dope video. Man, I've been watching Jax legitimate. Holy shit, I'm not subscribed. That's crazy. I was always that guy that's not subscribed. I'm so sorry. That's embarrassing because I actually used to watch this. What was the video that I watched first? I think it was like how to train like Rock Lee or something like that. It was a good video. This is like what, 6 years ago, maybe even longer. But yeah, it's a great video. I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all have a good day, good night, and be safe. Bye bye.